Alright, so this video is going to be about what I learned from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, I like it. It's, entertaining movie, and I'm talking about the remake. I've never even seen the original. I've got them both on my hard drive, but I've never watched the original. I just have a feeling it's a low budget version of the remake, you know what I mean? But So I don't know what possessed me to watch this movie last night, but I did. I was like, what is there to learn from this? I don't know, but I haven't seen it in a while, so let me watch it. And I did pick up on a lesson here. So I'm not going to go through the whole movie. There's just, it's a typical slasher type movie. There's some psycho trying to kill all the teens. Jessica Biel's looking so hot in that movie. God. Jesus Christ. I don't know how people drive these loud. How could you even think straight if you got that sound in your face the whole time you're driving? Um, but it's an interesting movie. There's just nothing real special about it. But there is a lesson to be learned here. Um, the main lesson, in my opinion, is there's people out there in this world who are no good. There's no mercy in them, and they are pure evil. And you're not gonna win them over with compassion and mercy. You got to be merciless and ruthless when you deal with people like this. You got to match their energy. You know what I mean? So I know in the Bible it teaches to turn the other cheek, but I got to say I don't really agree with that. You can't let people abuse you and violate you or your family. You got to stand up for yourself. You have to. It's something you got to do. Um, so you know, with me, with these people, once I saw teeth and body parts in that cellar, you know what I mean? I would have been like, okay, it's kill or be killed out here. There ain't no getting out of this peacefully. And this is a lesson I learned when I used to box people when I was younger. I'd be sparring. I wasn't trying to knock people out. I was thinking to myself, if I hit him as hard as I can, that ain't cool. And so I would box these people. But then in conversations later on, I'd find out they were not pulling their punches. Like, not like I was pulling my punches. I was matching as hard as they hit me, that's how hard I was hitting them. I could have hit them a lot harder a lot of the times. God bless me with some hands, bro. I don't know what to say. I hit hard. So, but then sometimes I would lose the boxing match. And I realized later on that, and these are just sparring with friends. It didn't even matter, really. But what I realized later on was that you should have been going hard on them. If someone's going to go hard on you, you go hard on them. You don't try to be merciful with someone who's not matching that energy. So I realized it a lot later on. Like, next time you box someone or you fight someone and they look like they're going hard, you better just go hard. Fuck it. I mean, it's not like they're trying to be merciful. So why should you? And it's good to be that way, but it's not always good to be that way. It's really only good to be that way if you're on a whole other level, which I wasn't. These are people, my peers and shit. So I realized later on in life that because I used to do the same thing with little scraps on the street too. I got in fights when I was a little kid, and um, one time I was fighting this kid who was, smaller than me, and all I was doing was throwing him on the ground and then letting him up. But I was just letting him know, like, you're not gonna do nothing to me, man. So, and really, when I'm glad I didn't just beat the shit out of the kid, but I realized as I turned into an adult, that's not gonna work anymore. You're gonna have to, if you do get in a fight, you're gonna have to just end it quickly and with everything you got. So if you're dealing with people who are psychotic, lunatic murderers, you're gonna have to fucking kill them. You know what I mean? It's a situation hopefully none of us will ever face, but if you're ever in that situation, it's the only way you're gonna get out of it is by being whatever you're dealing with. You're gonna have to be just as bad, you know. Um, And so, here's another example. I mentioned this, I think maybe in the Blair Witch video, but in case you haven't seen it, I was staying at an internet cafe in Manhattan. This is where I was sleeping. I was living on the street at the time, but I was paying for an overnight at the internet cafe, and I would sleep there. So, there was this thug dude just got out of Rikers Island. His only way to make money was basically robbing people. He would just knock motherfuckers out and take their money. And I was one of the few people on the street who made money every day. And another thing, I didn't make as much as he thought I made. Another funny thing is, one of the dudes on Canal Street gave me this fake gold chain that looked real. It was fake. He gave it to me for free. I didn't buy it. So I'm walking around with this gold chain on. He thinks I got all this money. I was thinking, if he wants a chain, I'll just give him the fucking chain. If it's a fake gold chain. They sell them down on Canal Street in Manhattan. So don't ever buy jewelry on the street down around Chinatown in Manhattan. They'll even file it down. I mean, it says 14K on it and everything, but it's not real. Don't buy jewelry on the street in New York. If you're gonna buy jewelry in New York City, go to the Diamond District. Anyways, and you go to the jewelry store. But so this dude, I I felt he was planning on robbing me, and there was a part of me that was just like, man, you should probably just stop sleeping here and go sleep somewhere else. But then I was thinking to myself, you're not getting ran out of your home. You don't really have a home, but this is where you sleep. Fuck that. Don't let this motherfucker just chase you out of where you stay. So I kept going there every night, and I was just ready for war. And eventually, I mean, if you want the full story, go watch the Blair Witch Project video. Was that a bee that just touched my face? I'll have to see it in the video. Um, yeah, if you want the full story, go to the video. But eventually, the dude ended up doing some dumb shit and going back to Rikers Island, which I think he did on purpose. He couldn't make it out on the street. He he he's better off in jail. Some people, they're better off in jail, um, for their own good and society's good. But I wonder whatever happened to that dude. My guess is he's probably in and out of jail. Like all he you know all he knows is violence. So he's probably doing hits in and out of jail until eventually somebody's gonna kill him. But so yeah, the main lesson here is when you're dealing with ruthless, nasty, evil people, you're gonna have to be just as ruthless and nasty and evil. Now, I'm not saying you just go start killing people who cross you. That's not what I'm saying. If they're gonna kill you, though, you're gonna have to kill them. Just like I think of the scene in when the crazy lunatic hillbilly cop has the one dude with the glasses in the back of the van, and he's making him reenact the suicide. If you haven't seen the movie, you'd have to see the movie to know what I'm talking about. But and he hands the dude a gun, and he's like, "Show me what she did. Put the gun in your mouth." And I'm sitting there thinking, if this man just handed me a gun, the first thing I would do. Now I already know, from what I've seen, is that this is. I have a right to kill this guy. That's what I'd be thinking at that point. So if he handed me a gun, telling me to reenact the suicide, put the gun in my mouth, this nasty gun that had blood on it, first thing I'd do is check if it's loaded. If it's not loaded, I'd keep playing along. But I would also know that even an unloaded gun is a great weapon. It's like having a hammer in your hand. You can wreck someone. I mean, if this dude was dumb enough to hand me a gun and he's sitting here threatening me and threatening my life and being real nasty and crazy, putting me in fear for my life, and he just put a gun in my hand, first thing I'd do is check if it's loaded. And it wasn't loaded, as it turned out. I knew he wasn't going to hand him no loaded gun. But as soon as I was done playing along with him, I would have bashed his face in with that pistol. And he's got no gun in his hand. Let me tell you something. Give me one shot, and I guarantee I'm shattering his face bones with it. So with me, here's the thing. Like I said in the Blair Witch movie video, when you're afraid, you got two choices. You can let it weaken you, or you can let it strengthen you, and it is a choice. So, because I've made the choice myself when I was dealing with that lunatic thug in Manhattan, I was thinking I can be afraid and I can hide, or I can be afraid and let it fuel me and turn me into a wolf too. Like, you ain't the only one who can do damage out here, guy. Like, you might be a little bigger than me, but you ain't that much stronger than me, and I can be just as vicious as anyone. So if that's how you want to do it, I'm not looking for no problem. But if you're gonna bring it to me, if you're gonna bring war to me, then I'm gonna make you pay for it. And maybe you'll win, maybe you'll be able to rob me, but I guarantee you're not gonna want to do it twice. So, you know, you're dealing with these type of people, you got to just realize that you're not helpless. You're not a little bunny rabbit. You're an apex predator. You're just as dangerous as anyone else. So don't let nobody put the fear of God in you. And in a movie like this, if you're in this situation, just look for an opportunity to get yourself a weapon. Me personally, I would have tried to smash that fucking cop's face in with that gun. I would have done my best to shatter his face and and take his life from him because he was putting my life in jeopardy. So that's that's and you don't know until you're in the situation, but I can tell you one thing. I've been through enough things in my life to know that I have the ability to turn that fear into rage, and it does become a pretty useful weapon for me, and it's happened a few times in my life. But so then the other thing now, they kept running into these enclosed spaces, and you're dealing with this big, huge lunatic with a chainsaw. I mean, me, I would have ran him out into the woods and just get my hands on any type of stick that's heavy enough to smash someone's face in with, and get to a spot where I got the drop on him, let him chase my trail down, and then pop up out of nowhere and just start trying to smash his face in. It's better than just getting killed. I mean, whatever happens, yeah, if you're in a position like that, you're better off putting up a fight. You know what I mean? But she kept running to all these enclosed spaces, and I was just like, "Are you a fucking idiot? There's all these woods out here. It's not like these people got dogs to track you. They never would have. You would have been able to get out in the woods. That's what I would have done. Look, don't keep running to houses and trailers. This guy's got a chainsaw. You think he can't cut down any door? You know what I mean? I was like, are you? I was getting annoyed watching it as she runs to the trailer in the woods. I'm like, that's the last thing I would have done. It's dark out. He's got no light. He ain't got dogs to track you. He ain't never gonna find you. And if he does, you get yourself a weapon and get the drop on him. So I guess the lesson here is if you're in a fight for your life, then you're gonna have to fight and not be scared. Um, Look, you just gotta. You know what? If you're in a real situation like that, you just gotta accept death. Be like, I'm dead. I'm gonna die. Let me at least take this motherfucker with me, and then in that case, you might end up winning and you might end up living. But you gotta accept. This way you're not afraid of it. Like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna die. You know what? He's gonna die too. I'm gonna make him pay. So I guess that's the lesson here. And I'm not promoting violence. I'm promoting self-defense. A lot of people, we've been domesticated in this modern world, and that's not a good thing when you're dealing with people who have not been domesticated, because there's plenty of other people out there who they ain't got no mercy in them. And I'm telling you from experience, there's some nasty people out there. And if there was no law, they would be killing people. So you'd have to kill them. You'd have to. Um, I know there's karmic consequences for everything, but look, you can't just let people run wild and you know what I mean? Otherwise, they're gonna rule the world like they do now. You gotta nip that shit in the bud early on. All right, so I guess this is gonna be about a 15-minute video because yeah, it's an interesting movie. I'm just not gonna go through the whole thing. It's not even. It's all right. It's good. It's a scary movie. And there is a little twist at the end which will surprise you. Um, Real quick, when I was driving through Texas, I remember I stopped at this barbecue place in the middle of West Texas, middle of nowhere, nothing out there. And I was like, man, this reminds me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I went to the little place to eat, and it's in the middle of nowhere. everyone was kind of hostile towards me. I was thinking, this is strange. The food was good, but I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there. I could tell they didn't really, they weren't too friendly towards the outsiders around there. It was the feeling I was getting. But I didn't get abducted or nothing like that. But yeah, I guess that's the lesson for this movie. Just be as nice as you can. Match people's energy. If they're gonna come at you all nasty and foul, then go ahead and be that way in return. And a lot of people say you should swing first in a fight. I agree with that for most people, unless you're like a counter puncher type like me, where I prefer someone to swing and then I catch them while they're off guard. That's my style of boxing. When I used to box people, I prefer to let them swing and I dodge them and then I catch them. But some people you're better off getting off first because a lot of the times on the street, whoever lands the first shot is going to win. It usually happens fast and ends fast. But so you know, I guess that's the lesson in this movie. Match the energy, man. If you're dealing with some psychotic lunatic killers, you're gonna have to kill them the whole time. Don't be just frightened and yeah, of course, try to escape, but you got to be ready. You got to be ready, willing, and able to be as nasty as they are. I'd be trying to escape most of the time, but I'm talking about when that cop handed me that gun. That would have been the biggest mistake he ever made, bro. I would have at that point, I would have, I do believe I would have taken him out, um, and got his loaded gun, and then I would have taken out the rest of the lunatics, and we would have got away. That's that's how I feel. You never know till you're in the situation, and I hope I'm never in it. But anyways, I guess that's the end of this one. Everybody have a good one. We'll see what the next video is. It's going to be another scary movie up until Halloween. So I'll see you on the next one.